Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Normie CE Training, and this is the place where you will receive your Normie recertification credits for this session. This session does qualify for a Normie recertification credit. So welcome, everybody. Glad to see you here. Want to welcome all of our admin staff that's slowly popping into the room here. Believe we have 12 or 13 people that are on board today, though we're not going to bring them all up on the screen. So welcome, everybody. Doug, I see you in the room. Welcome. Mike, Jenner, thanks for being here.
Good afternoon.
Well, it is a good afternoon, actually. And I want to welcome everybody to our new time slot. Obviously, you're here, so you know that we're starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, and that's where we will be conducting our Normie CE trainings for recertification credits going forward. Also, for our active Normie members, we'll be following this session with a presentation on some new products and training on those actual products. So stick around for that. And that will be conducted here in our Zoom room, not on the public platforms. And speaking of the public platforms, welcome to everybody that's here on too many to name. I'll just throw a few out there: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and a whole bunch of others. So we're all out there. So welcome, everybody, and glad to see that you're all here. All right, with that being said, I think at this time, Doug, I'm going to turn it over to you so we can get this started. And if you're ready, I'm going to ask all of the rest of our admin people to shut down their video and mics, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I am ready. So thank you very much. I just want to tell you a little bit about what's happened with Normie. As we've expanded, we've grown now to actually become an international organization. We just opened up a chapter in the UK, and which is kind of exciting for us. So we now have some members in New Zealand, some in South Africa, Ireland, and Great Britain. So we're really excited about that relationship. Well, one of the reasons why we were able to do that is because of the credibility that Normie has built in impacting, I think, the indoor air quality industry and the mold industry in a very, very positive way. What I want to do this afternoon is I want to share with you a great training opportunity that we've just finalized. Planning for October, which is going to be not only a great training opportunity, but it's going to become a fun event for us. Years ago, we did a couple of cruises, and that worked out really well. Well, we have something else planned in October that we're inviting everyone to, not just Normie members, but friends and family of Normie, others in the area, that is, in others in the industry that maybe want training that haven't gotten Normie training yet. So I want to talk about, for a few minutes today before we finish, I want to talk about the training opportunity that we have coming up in October. So let me just pull my screen in here, and I'll show you what we've got planned for you and your family. It's actually a trip to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. And one of the exciting things about this event, and you can find all the details at events.normie.org. We'll go back to that in just a minute so you can see that particular information. But what's cool about this is it's going to be a 6-day, 5-night event at an all-inclusive resort. And let me talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing there. This is some of the information that you'll see that we have online for the actual details of the event, and also the registration form. All of that's available now online. But I think it's just going to be a great opportunity for us to do some networking and also to do some training. What I wanted to do for a few minutes before I talk about the actual trip, because obviously that's not a hard sell, but what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the unique training that we're going to be doing. Several years ago, we found that brand new assessors and remediators, but primarily assessors, are those who were indoor air quality professionals just getting in the industry, would come to a class and there's so much information that is shared with them that they leave the class feeling as though they've had a dump truck backed up and dumped all this information on them, and they have to sort out now exactly how do I actually do the job? How do I get on a property and know how to do an assessment? So we created a class called ISSS, and that's what I want to talk about for a few minutes, because this is the class that we will be teaching in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico in October. You saw the dates, the 22nd through the 27th. 2 of those days while we're there, we're going to be doing this class, the Indoor Air Quality Strategy, Sampling, and Solutions. If you know anything about NORMI, you know that we take the concept of mold and put it under the umbrella of indoor air quality. It is an indoor air quality issue. And those who work in the mold business, specifically those who are licensed as assessors, or maybe they work in a state that doesn't require licensing, and so they work as a mold inspector or home inspector or indoor air quality professional. Those guys are working in the indoor air quality industry. And so what this class is designed to do is to say, okay, let's put it into that context, and now let's talk about these specific 3 areas. You've got some training, maybe you've gotten some experience on the assessment process, but let's talk about strategies, sampling, and solutions. And the interesting thing about this to me is that when you start working in the assessment industry, one of the things that you realize very quickly is that you need to have a duplicatable process, a process that you do and you use every single time when you do an assessment. That keeps you from forgetting something. It keeps you out of a legal liability. So having a process that you can duplicate is really, really important. And this is what this class is about. It's about taking these 3 components. How do you build a sampling strategy? What kind of samples? How many samples? Where should those samples be taken? And then if you're going to offer solutions, which of course, that's the NORMI way of doing business, is not just a matter of finding a problem, but it's also solving that problem and then creating a cleaner, safer, healthier environment so that you can then make sure that problem doesn't come back. It really does start after our initial CMA CMR class. It really starts with this idea of IAQ, strategy, sampling, and solutions. So in our class, it's a 2-day class. By the way, I didn't mention this, but if you're with the state of Florida licensing law, you know you need to have 14 hours of continuing education every 2 years to keep your licensing and your certifications current. Well, not necessarily coincidentally, this class provides for you 14 hours of continuing education. And if you keep up with that, you know that your renewal period ends next summer, 2024. And so if you took this class in October of 2023, you would have all of the hours that you need to renew your license in Florida by that August deadline. So that's kind of an exciting thing that we can offer. And if you're with the IICRC or you have certifications with the IICRC, this course also qualifies for their continuing education credits, as well as the NORMI recertification credits. So it's a great opportunity to not only get training, but you'll see, as Larry mentions here in a second, it's a great way to write off the cost of your training and the cost of the trip. So this indoor air quality class, IAQSSS or ISSS, deals with strategy. Why do you sample? Where do you sample? When do you sample? And how many samples do you take? That's a strategy that you've got to figure out when you first go onto a job site. And it's not always easy. It depends on a lot of different factors. We talk about those factors, and I'll mention that in a little more detail in a second. And then you've got the sampling process. You want to take a combination of air and surface samples. Typically in our NORMI professional practices, we recommend a minimum of 6 in any air conditioning coverage area. And so what does that look like? How many samples should you take? and what kind of combination of samples, both air and surface. We also delved down into a little deeper, in this class, a little deeper techniques of the sampling process, rather than just the simple 5 sampling methods that are normally used. We actually delve into the way that you take samples from mycotoxins, air and surface samples, because there are testing processes and protocols out there now that can test for mycotoxins. SARS-CoV-2, sometimes folks are interested, yes, even now, they're still interested in getting a clearance for a SARS-CoV-2. So that's all within the context of the sampling process. And then when we talk about the third module, which is solutions, we're going to talk about the sanitization process and how it's different from a remediation project. Several years ago, when I wrote my book, Mold-Free Construction, I included in that book a chapter dealing with what we termed then, and this was in the late 90s, and now we continue to use it, as the sanitization protocol. How do you create a really cleaner, safer environment when remediation is maybe unnecessary? There's not enough mold, or there's not a zero tolerance mold there that needs to be removed, but you've just got elevated mold spores. In the IICRC world, that would be a condition 2. How do you clean up that environment? And so we have in our Normie professional practices a sanitization protocol. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how that incorporates air filtration and air purification. Filtration being a passive kind of technology. You're bringing the pollution to the solution, where purification is more proactive. You're taking the solution to the pollution. And we talk a lot about that in our IAQ Basics 101 course that we make available to all of our members for free. It's also available on the training site at besttrainingschool.com. But we want to talk about air filtration and air purification and the other solutions that are available to create this cleaner, safer, healthier environment. And that also includes a monitoring program. How do you make sure that the problems are not going to come back? And that might include an annual testing protocol, or it may include IAQ monitoring on an ongoing basis. So all of those things are the kinds of things we discuss on the solutions side. This was the first class that we did actually in 2021, right after COVID. And these were some of the participants. I'll show you what they had to say about this class in just a second. But one of the exciting things we do when we talk about strategy is we take the footprint of a building, and we say, okay, this particular building, as you can see on this drawing, he's working it out. This particular building, maybe it's an open warehouse. It's 2,400 square feet. It's got one air conditioning system, but it's an open warehouse with a small office. How many samples would you take, and where would you take them? Then they flip the page and they have exactly the same footprint, 2,400 square feet, but now it's divided into offices. All of it is split into offices. So instead of a warehouse space, now that single air conditioning coverage area covers an entire office space. And so obviously the use of the building has changed. Well, then they flip the page again, and the next page is the same footprint, 2,400 square feet, but they added another air conditioning system, and now they've created a dental office. Now, how many samples should you take? And what kinds of samples should you take? And where should they be taken? So this discussion about strategies has been incredibly helpful, I think, especially to those folks who are beginning in business, learning how to actually think about developing a strategy for solutions. So in our recommendation through Normie Pro professional practices, we always say a minimum of 6 in any air conditioning coverage area. So you think about this, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, where would you take those 6 samples? If you're going to take one outside, that remains it leaves you 5 more samples to take. Obviously, if you're a combination of air and surface, where would you take those? And the big question that we always want to answer is why? Why am I taking the sample? Or why did I not take a sample here? So that's the discussion that we have on strategy. The sampling technique, and we get to sometimes at our academy, we actually have an opportunity to pull some other trainers in. As you see here, I may do some of the training, Mo may do some of the training, Lance may do some of the training, Tim might do some of the training. So we have a pool of trainers, and we all have different experiences, but this is an opportunity for us to talk about sampling strategies, and not just the traditional way samples are taken, like swabs, as you see there, or aerosols, but also we talk about luminometer screening and how to utilize that in terms of determining microbial loads on surfaces. That would be surface sampling. And in this class, we actually take it a little higher level of class of training and talk about mycotoxins and how are you able to measure the DNA on mycotoxins utilizing surface sampling. There are a couple of labs that use surface sampling now for mycotoxins. There's at least one lab, and we're looking at another that does sampling of mycotoxins in the air. And so how do you get that information, collect that information, and how can that help you learn more about what's going on in that environment? And then, because we're in an environment where we can do it, and we certainly will do this in Puerto Vallarta, we'll have actually sampling devices there and media there so that those in the classroom can actually learn how to do sampling, or maybe perfect the way that they've been doing it, so that they can be consistent in their collection of the sample and in actually processing the sample for a lab report. So we've talked about strategies, we've talked about solutions, or sampling, and then we're going to talk about solutions. There are products and services out there that we want to talk with you about. Not that we sell product, because we don't, but there are companies out there that have great air purification, great filtration products. The monitoring program, obviously, we would want you to know about the Normie Pro monitoring program, where you can make monitors available and provide that service of monitoring someone's indoor air quality, kind of hands off for you, much like a security alarm, where they're just simply paying for somebody who's an IAQ professional to keep an eye on their indoor air quality. And then if there's an anomaly, that they would be connected back to the person who provided those monitors. So we do talk about solutions because, as I said, when it's all said and done, the Normie approach is find the problem, identify what that problem is, offer a solution, and then offer another solution on how to make sure that the problems don't come back. And so I think we look at the industry a little bit differently than a lot of folks, but it does provide a real strong presence for you in the marketplace. And I think more credibility, because now you're resolving people's issues in their environments. This is a sample of a lab report that we would discuss. You can see that some of the sampling that was done showed up in the red, some showed up in the green. But how do you interpret this? Well, when you put it in the context of the Normie professional practices, there are several things that you're looking for. You're looking for 10 square feet of visible mold. If there's not 10 square feet of visible mold, then maybe the sanitization protocol could work instead of the remediation protocol. You want the moisture content behind any mold that you see on a surface. You want that moisture content to be below 17%. If it is below 17%, then it's likely that it's getting its moisture from the relative humidity and not from the wall behind it. So remediation might be unnecessary. But then if there's a zero tolerance mold there, and we talk about 5 of those, then we're certainly going to need to do some remediation or some more aggressive approach to that environment. And those are some of the criteria that we use. And you'll notice in this particular report, there was Chitomium. You see that highlighted in yellow. Well, Chitomium is a zero tolerance mold. You've got to deal with it if there was some there, or Stachybotrys. In this particular case, there wasn't. And then, of course, we're looking for elevated levels of mold, which is what the reds would indicate. So my point is that those are the kinds of things that we discuss in the class. And then in terms of the overall or overarching approach to a cleaner, safer, healthier environment, we talk about this Normie sanitization protocol. And this is right out of our Normie professional practices, fogging and cleaning the HVAC system if it's necessary, the installation of air filtration and purification, utilizing passive fresh air makeup, isolating the exterior from the interior, which fresh air makeup can do. So anyway, we talk about that in detail, the sanitization protocol. This was interesting from our first class, that the response that we got was that they came primarily because they were looking to expand their knowledge. And we see that a lot. Guys that have been in the industry, some of the folks that were at our class that you saw in that first picture have been in the industry for 15, 20 years, and yet they're still interested in expanding their knowledge. And they also responded this way, which I thought was interesting. I found the information in this class informative, extremely informative. And I think that's what you'll find. Our classes, we try as best we can to stay up on the industry, to stay up on the technology, and to provide a training that is really effective for you in your business model, whatever that happens to be. So that's the indoor air quality strategy, sampling, and solutions side of the class. And that's a 2-day class. You get your continuing education credits for the state of Florida, for IICRC, and recertification units of credits for your Normie certification. So I think that's a really, really big benefit. All right, so let's talk about Puerto Vallarta. Obviously, it's a beautiful place. These two documents, we'll talk about these in a second, but these two documents are at the events.normie.org page. And I want to just, that's the page, events.normie.org. And I want to play this video, which is basically an interview or conversation that Larry Cooper and I had. Larry Cooper is the owner of the Restoration Journeys. And for some of you who are familiar with the industry, you know that he also owned the Experience, which is now owned by R&R. But the point is that he also owns this other company, which is Restoration Journeys. And when he came to me, he said, let's talk about doing a training program in a really exotic resort, a real exotic resort. And I thought, okay, that sounds expensive. And he said, well, doesn't have to be. And we do a really good job of this. We think we can put together something really fun for you. So let me just play this for you. I think you'll really like what he has to say. So I'm excited to be here today with Larry Cooper because we're going to talk about a absolutely incredible event that we've got coming up in October. I'm so excited about it. And I'm just going to let you chat a little bit about where we're going and what we're going to be doing, Larry.
Well, Doug, we started this amazing company about a decade ago. It's called Restoration Journeys. And in this case, we're calling it Restoration and Remediation Journeys. And we are going to take you all to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Oh, my.
I mean, get behind me, man. It just looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I heard it was all inclusive, which is really exciting.
Yeah, so Restoration Journeys is where education and travel come together. And we love the opportunity to take business owners and managers and, people that really want to learn to incredible locations where they can relax, enjoy themselves, they bring their wives, kids, whatever they want to do, but also be able to network closely with industry people that, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to get to know and be friends. And so we have now booked Puerto Vallarta, Mexico at the Marriott Resort and Spa. And our dates are October 22nd through October 27th. That's this year. Amazing. I can't wait to leave. But,
so 6 days, 6 days, 5 nights. Yeah.
5 nights, 6 days, exactly. And if you want to add on 3 days before, 3 days after, we have that option available also. Doug, you said something about all-inclusive.
Yeah.
I mean, they're hard to find now. And all-inclusive means all of your food and all of your drink. Now, there may be some minor limitations on drink, like foo-foo, frozen kind of things with umbrellas. I don't know if those are included yet, but all your normal sodas, water, alcohol, that's all included. So you want to come down and drink some beer or margaritas, that's fantastic. But even better than that is we've partnered with Normie, and Normie is an amazing organization, as many of you must already know. And we wanted to partner with them because of the level of education they bring to our industry and to all of you. And so Doug and his team are going to be teaching a class for 2 days in the classroom, in the hotel. And then we'll also have lunch outside by the pool. We'll be down on the beach doing receptions. Doug, tell them a little bit about the education. What are you guys doing there?
Well, I'm going to be teaching for 2 days while my wife is laying at the beach. I don't know what that's all about.
Can't reverse that? Is that what you're saying?
She wants nothing to do with that. No, I'm so excited about this class because this class, I think, first of all, which is really important, is it qualifies licensed remediators and assessors in the state of Florida for 14 hours of continuing education, which means if they come to this 2-day class, they get all the hours they need for 2 years of education, which is pretty cool. But this particular class is called the IAQ Strategy, Sampling, and Solutions. And so it's not a basic level course. Like I said, it's primarily for guys that are certified mold assessors or certified mold remediators or restoration contractors. And the idea is, if you're looking at an environment, how do you decide how many samples to take and what kinds of samples to take? We don't want our guys to be swab jockeys. We want them to understand they need to take a combination of both surface and air samples. What kinds of samples and how many? And of course, based on the environment, that strategy changes the way you will take samples. So that's the first part of it. Then we talk about all the sampling options they have: air answers, swabs, aerosols, VOC sampling, all of that. And then we talk about, okay, so now you found out what the problem is. What about the solutions? How do you create a cleaner, safer, healthier environment? So it's talk about all-inclusive. It's an all-inclusive class that covers a lot of material in 2 days that really helps assessors take their and remediators take their business to the next level.
Now, I was really involved in the S520. I chaired that committee for quite a while. And we always looked at assessors as IEPs, right? Indoor environmental professionals. But what we found was that we were causing some limitation problems because there aren't IEPs everywhere that we're doing work, obviously. And so this kind of answers that call. But even more so for me, when I had an IEP on my jobs, I didn't really understand what they were doing. And that's really what this class is about.
Yeah.
Is getting into the framework of what's happening there.
Yeah, unfortunately, some guys in the industry, as you know, like to keep everything kind of close to the vest, make it all kind of mysterious and don't know how they come to the conclusions they came to. And one of the things I think that you and I have agreed on from the very first time we met is that the entire industry needs to share information, share education. Nobody has the magic bullet. Learn what you can learn from everybody. And that's really what this class is about. It's about saying, look, you want to understand how to do this? This is the way you do it and the way you do it right. Of course, it supports not only the S520, but it also supports our Normie professional practices, which is now the insured best practices document used in all states that require licensing. So we're real proud of this class. It's a great, fun class, a lot of interaction, hands-on stuff. And so it's going to be fun.
That is pretty darn awesome. And in that magic bullet, while we're down in Puerto Vallarta, I plan to search for that, just so you know. Been looking for it for a long time.
Well, you can look at it and I'll be at the beach. How's that?
I think that's a fair thing to do, man.
There you go.
What we want you to know is that this package will include 5 nights hotel at the Marriott Puerto Vallarta Resort and Spa. Beautiful spa there. All meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, midnight snacks, whatever it is, all included. There's actually mini bars and snacks in your room. There's room service. There's a fitness area, golf course across the street. Beach is right out the back door. The marina is walking distance. And then we'll look at excursions also. But the most important thing we haven't told you is that 14 hours is really critical, because if you attend the 14 hours, this is a tax write-off. This is an education program, and it should be part of your expenses that you can write off for being in business and continuing your education and learning. And you should bring your wife, you should bring your kids. We have special rates and programs for kids also. So if you are interested in bringing kids, we're going to have you call our office and talk to Jillian Olson. She's working on that program. We have big discounts for them. And so definitely check that out. There are other upgrades available, and you can get as nice a room as you would like to. This hotel is newly remodeled. It's absolutely gorgeous. We are more than thrilled to have this great opportunity.
Yeah.
So can I tell them the price?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
I want to tell you that I've been looking at the pictures online. I went to their website and looked at the pictures. Absolutely incredible. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun event. Also, in terms of your education, I think we should mention that if you're an IICRC person, you get credits toward your certification for this class. So again, you can write that off if you're not licensed in the state of Florida, but you have an IIC certification. That's really important, no doubt. And I think you were going to recommend that I should bring 2 sets of clothes, small and extra large. Did you say something about that?
Well, Doug recommended we have a weigh-in at the beginning and at the end.
That would be fun. Oh, and you know what else? The other big news is, I think I told you this, which is kind of coincidental in some ways, but what's really exciting is next year, 2024, is Normie's 20th birthday. So let's have a birthday party down there and we'll celebrate, and I'll let you try to blow out the candles. How's that?
I think I could hit 20 still.
Absolutely. So anyway, you were going to talk about the price.
Well, I don't want to talk about it, but I think everybody will know that this is an amazing opportunity. So the all-inclusive with hotel includes the education, includes transportation from the airport to the hotel and back. We are looking at $2,100 a person. That's a great rate, obviously.
It is, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of activity, a lot of fun. And then you can stay at the hotel the whole time at the beach and have an awesome time. Swimming pool area is gorgeous. Or you can go travel and see Puerto Vallarta. Downtown has great shopping also, and there's a lot to do. So we're very excited, obviously, to invite you to join us. And there's payment plans also. So if you were interested, you can break down the payments into 3 or 4 payments. And Jillian can help you arrange all of that. There's a small deposit of $500 due when you book it, and we will sell out. And so you definitely want to get in on the action and have some fun. Every one of the trips we've done has been unbelievably wonderful. I think we've done 12 of these trips already, and we cannot wait to be with all of you on the beach having a drink.
That's going to be fun. So how do they get a hold of you? I know you've got a website, and of course they could call us and we'll just simply direct them to you. But what's the website?
The website is restorationjourneys.com. And then our phone number here also is 303-469-0306. Extension 103 is Jillian, and I'm at 101. I'm Larry. And either one of us can help you. And Jennifer answers, she's going to jump in and help you also. So we're all thrilled to have this opportunity to work with Normie and to welcome all of you to Puerto Vallarta. We're going to take care of the details. You know, one thing I know about travel, I've done a lot of travel all over the world. Going into Mexico, I always like to be met with a greeting sign that says my name for Restoration Journeys, so that I know exactly where I'm going. You'll be put into a beautiful luxury vehicle. You'll be taken right to the hotel that's about 10 to 15 minutes away, and you'll start your journey there. So
you want to do that only because you want to be sure to get to the hotel. You don't want to end up somewhere else, right?
Well, I've been on some trips where, you know, you walk out and all these guys are grabbing your bags. I got a cab, I got a limo. I don't like confusion. I like to know exactly where I'm going. I like to know that I'm being taken care of. And when I get to the right place, they have my name registered. So
there you go.
That's always really fantastic.
There you go. Well,
those details.
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am and how much I appreciate you putting this together. I know this is going to be a really fun opportunity for us to be together, spend some time together, do some training, and just relax. So thank you so much for putting this together. For those of you who are Normie members, we do have our website, events.normie.org, and all of the information is there for you to go to click directly to Larry's website. They're handling all the registration, but we're also promoting it through our social media and so forth. So don't miss out on this opportunity. It's going to be absolutely fun. So thank you so much, Larry, for taking the time to talk about this. And I look forward to getting some videos maybe in the next few weeks when you're down there looking.
I will definitely get that to you. And I think you said the key word, relax. Just come on down and relax and enjoy yourself and learn as you're participating also. So
there you go. All right.
In Puerto Vallarta.
So I want to talk a little bit about the details, but I don't want you to go away because this is really open for everyone. And we have a special pricing, not only for your wives or friends and family pricing, which doesn't include the class, of course. So if you want to come down there and you don't want to go to the class, we've got a discounted rate for that. But we also have kids pricing, so it can be a whole family event. So hang on, I'll share that with you in just a minute. But I want to talk a little bit in detail so you can see what these brochures are, these flyers are that we have on our website. So again, we're talking about 5 nights, 6 days at Puerto Vallarta at the Marriott Resort and Spa, October 22nd through the 27th. The all-inclusive, which is really important, includes virtually everything. All the rooms are suites. They all have balconies. You'll see some pictures here in a second. Incredible view. And of course, the education that we're going to do for those of you who are interested in doing that. We know that there are a lot of friends and family that will want to come and they're not interested in the class. We get that, and that's fine. Hopefully this is going to be a fun, just networking, fun event for anyone who wants to come, whether they come to the class or not. And so we have special pricing for that, of course. This is a little note on the ISSS class, and that's on the flyer as well. And then there's the contact information. If you want to call Jill Olson, you see that down in the lower right-hand corner. Jill is the one who's handling all the details on this. You can call her direct if you want and register, set up the payment plan. You got plenty of time between now and October to make relatively small payments to get this thing taken care of if you like. But anyway, that's how you contact them, is Jill directly, either through email or through that phone. So there's the pricing. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see $2,100 per person. Of course, that's up through July 15th. There's a huge deposit, obviously, that has to be paid up front. And so we're encouraging people to try to get registered as soon as possible. Get on that payment plan, even if you can pay the whole thing if you like, but get on that payment plan with just the $500 deposit. If you're a single person who needs a single room, then that's where the $2,587 price per person is. So really what you're looking at, again, is the $2,100 per person or $2,300 for the per payment plan. Now, here's the cool thing. If someone's not interested in coming to the class, obviously the class is costing money. That's part of the whole process. is getting the trainers, the equipment, the facilities, and all of that. So if you take that out, you're going to be surprised at this price. If you take that number out and have no interest in going to the class, but are only coming down, or you're the wife or the husband of the one who's going to be in class, there's a special price for you, and that is $16.97. That's the friends and family price. Still all inclusive per person, obviously double occupancy. But look what they've done for the kids, which I think is really cool. Lance and I were talking about this a little earlier, and I wasn't sure what they could do about the kids, but this is the response I got. Kids from 4 to 11, only $500. Kids 11 to 17, $700. So that's a great rate for the entire, the entire event. And if you don't want to come to the class, those are the numbers that you would be able to look at. So events.normie.org, that's our website. And I'm going to turn it back over to Lance here. I think he has another video that he wants to show, but I just wanted to share this information with you. It's going to be fun. You'll be looking at it on our social media at facebook.normie.org. If you're a Normie member, you'll also see it through email and also Normie Pro Support. But we're opening this up for anyone who's interested in either the education or just interested in having fun with a group of people that are fun people to be around. We're looking forward to this in October 22nd. So Lance, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. I see there's a question in the room. I'm just looking at that now. Nope, doesn't apply to this. We'll get back to that. Question I have for you, though, is before I move on, did you want to talk about the experience at all? Because it is coming up shortly.
Yeah, that's a great idea. The experience is, well, I'll just tell you, and I've said this so many times, our members probably say, yeah, we've heard that before multiple times. If there's a single convention or conference, if you're in the restoration industry, remediation industry, indoor air quality industry, there's a single conference that you need to attend. It's the experience. And it's happening this month or next month in May. The exact dates are 8th, 9th, and 10th, I believe, May 8th to 9th and 10th in Fort Lauderdale at the Broward County Convention Center. We're going to be there, of course. We're one of the gold sponsors. So we have a pavilion where we'll be doing a lot of training on remediation, hands-on, building containment, creating negative pressure, talking about new technologies like the PRV 24K, post-remediation verification 24K. So there's a lot of stuff happening. We've got multiple trainers there. There's an English track that we're doing on assessment and remediation, and a Spanish track that we're doing on the assessment and remediation side of the industry. So that's happening just a couple of weeks away, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. And then there's a special class that we're offering following the day, following that event on the 11th at the same convention center, following the experience called the Certified Mold Assessment Technician, which is training remediators and restoration contractors how to take sampling and how to do interim sampling, pre-sampling, post-sampling, how to do all of that when you don't have an IEP on site. As Larry mentioned in the earlier video, that kind of stuff happens a lot. And if you don't have a licensed mold assessor available to you, or you don't have an IEP, that's a great class to take. But even if you do have one, sometimes doing pre, interim, and post-sampling as a remediator is just a really good way to cover your rear, as they say, to make sure that you're doing the job correctly and that you can defend what you've done in court. So that class is happening, CMAT, following the experience. Both of those, by the way, are at the experience, at the events.normie.org website that I gave you, both the experience and the restorations journeys trip.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Well, I just want to close out what you just talked about with another quick, less than a minute video. And you're going to notice that the videos that people have watched today all have one theme: sand. So it's all good. So give me 1 second to play this, and then we'll continue on. Well, like I said, sand in all the videos tonight. Couldn't help it, couldn't resist. Again, just to state it again, the experience is definitely the one event you need to go to if you can only go to one a year. Enough of that. Doug's said it over and over, but it is the truth. Now we've reached the part where I have good news and bad news for everybody out there. The good news is, for the Active Normie members that are here in the room, we're going to continue on, and we're going to go into a special training shortly after some quick announcements that we do for our Normie people. And after that, we're going to talk about some brand new products that are out on the market and some training on some of those products, just to give you an idea on how they work, how they can be utilized. So stand by for that. For the rest of you that are watching on the other platforms, I do want to thank all of you for spending your time here with us. We are doing this every Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon at this point, 4 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Really? 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. I've been doing it for so many years, the old times are still stuck in my mind. Join us. We're on all the other platforms that you watched on today and many others. Also wanted to thank the people that were involved with the live chat. We were able to monitor that tonight across around 5 different platforms. So it was kind of interesting doing that. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for joining us. Stand by for one moment. We'll be closing out the public section. And for those of you on the other platforms, we will be starting up the feed that's normally broadcast 24/7 on all the other channels, including Normie.tv. Please stand by, everybody, and we will be right back.